Good Thursday morning, everyone. This is Mitch. Hope you guys are having a fantastic start to your day. I want to give you a weather update on what is expected for today. It's been a very active last couple of days across the southeast with pretty much a tornado outbreak Tuesday, and then we had multiple tornadoes yesterday. We'll find out later today how bad the damage was in areas around Swainsboro, Georgia. They got hit by a tornado after the sun went down last night when that Boeing segment of a line moved through. So hopefully everybody is okay in that region. The sun's coming up, so we'll know the extent of the damage here in the next couple hours out of that region. But we're going to talk about who could see severe weather today because it isn't quite over. Areas of eastern North Carolina, southeastern Virginia, areas of Florida could see some severe weather today, including a pretty small tornado threat in North Carolina. So we're going to talk about that. Talk a little bit about some other areas too. Some snow falling for certain areas of the country with this strong upper trough pivoting through with this low pressure, cold air on the backside. So we'll talk about that. If you guys have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button for me. Like the video if you like it. You guys got anything I can pray about, please put it in the comments below. Please do that, guys. So we can all look out for one another and pray for one another here. So let's get going here. You got a slight risk up. This is including barely Raleigh, Wilmington, and then points east, Wilmington, points north. This is including Virginia Beach, not quite to Richmond, but this is driven off a tornado threat in this area. 5% risk. Norfolk, this is including you guys. Virginia Beach, like I said. Raleigh right on that line, but don't pay too much attention to that. Y'all guys do have a tornado threat with any storms that do form today. A large one, no. But there is a 5% risk, so we got to watch out for that today as this cold front's moving through. But ahead of this cold front, the atmosphere will destabilize, and then the atmosphere will be primed somewhat for tornadic activity. There is also a slight risk down here in Florida. This includes areas like Tampa Bay, Orlando, Melbourne, and everywhere in between. A slight risk down there for mainly damaging winds and a little bit of hail, and there is a small tornado threat down there with that 2% risk. So this is all in response to this huge upper trough. The low pressure is way up here. So it's pretty incredible to see. But this morning we're still dealing with some showers and storms in South Carolina, even some down here in Georgia, some in North Carolina. These are producing a little bit of lightning, definitely some heavy rain. No severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings up for these or anything like that. I don't have my lightning icon pulled up here, but these are producing some lightning and obviously some thunder. So be careful out there if you're in the eastern Carolinas and areas of Georgia, as there's definitely some heavy rain out there. But let's get going here. Let's talk about North Carolina's threat for severe weather today. We're going to take a look at the HRRR model, which is a short-range model in general here. So we'll get going here in time. This is around the 1, 2, 3 p.m. time frame. You're starting to get some showers and storms popping up just north and west of Raleigh. These will continue to mature, strengthen. The environment will start to destabilize. Temperatures in these areas will probably reach the 70s and 80s, dew points well into the 60s, maybe pushing 70 in certain areas. And there will be a little bit of kinematics in place, meaning wind energy. Think of that as wind up in the atmosphere that helps rotate these updrafts, these storms. So at certain points, certain times, these can reach the surface, obviously, and be a tornado. So that's why you have a little bit of a tornado threat today in these regions. A little bit later this afternoon from North Carolina, southeast Virginia. But you watch out. You're getting going here in the late afternoon hours. You have a cluster of storms here in eastern North Carolina and southeastern Virginia. So, predicting exactly where these storms are going to develop and who's going to get what, very hard. But just if you're in the eastern North Carolina, southeastern Virginia, eastern Virginia in general, even areas up into Delaware, the Delmarva area could see some nasty storms. I'm about to show y'all's region a little bit better here in a second. But these storms can produce a quick tornado and definitely damaging winds and some large hail. So be careful with that later today. So let's get going up here a little bit to the south down here in Florida. In fact, let me jump back up here and then look at the mid-Atlantic for you folks wondering what's going to happen up here. Same situation, but obviously you lose the severity ingredients that you need for anything, potentially significant as far as severe weather. But same areas up here, just south of Washington, D.C., you could get some nasty storms. Watch out, this cluster of storms moving well southeast of Washington way up here in PA and interior areas of New York State, you guys are going to be mainly heavy rain today, moderate to heavy rain. But down here, watch out. Maybe a cluster of storms later this evening starts to make its way into the coastal regions and the ocean regions of Maryland. Basically, the Delmarva area starts to get some late evening boomers for sure. You guys could have some nasty storms a little bit later this afternoon, evening. So just be careful in these regions. I don't anticipate a severe weather outbreak or anything in this region, but just something to keep a heads up on and be weather aware on, since you guys are already under the gun with a marginal and slight risk for later today. So let's talk about my folks down here in Florida. What could you guys expect? Well, same kind of deal, but this is a tornado threat is not quite as high, but you guys will definitely have plenty of CAPE, which think of that as storm energy needed for these storms to really feed off of or fuel off of. So you guys could really have some nasty storms, really starting as early as later this morning into early this afternoon. Pretty much anybody south of Jacksonville, Florida could see some storms today, and especially the Central Peninsula area of Florida, Orlando, Tampa Bay. You guys could see some nasty storms a little bit later today. Damaging winds, large hail, the biggest threat, but there is a very small isolated tornado threat. So be careful with these storms. If you're in Orlando, if you're in Florida, you guys are accustomed to bad storms down here, but so this isn't anything super unusual, but you are under a slight risk, a level 2 out of 5. So these storms are going to pack a little bit of an extra punch today. And then by late evening into the overnight hours, the energy begins to fizzle off. So if we take a look at the significant tornado parameter up in this area, it does spike as we're getting into early to later this afternoon, early to mid-afternoon. It reaches anywhere the STP, which stands for significant tornado parameter. Think of that as the higher the number you go on this little bar over here, the higher chances of seeing the tornado. Just because it's a 10, that don't mean there's a 10% or 100% chance of seeing the tornado. Just think of this, the higher it goes, the higher the chances. We always base a scale. Give me a number between 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. Think of that as a customer survey thing or something like that. You guys get what I'm saying. I'm getting a little mumble-toned here. But anyways, definitely a tornado threat in eastern North Carolina, southeastern Virginia today, and it kind of maximizes around 4 or 5 p.m. here in eastern North Carolina, where you have these values reaching 2 to potentially 3 right in this area. So the threat will be there. I wouldn't be surprised to see some tornado warnings up in that area later today. Here in the northeast, mainly rain all throughout the morning hours, the afternoon hours. This rain really begins to move into New York State as a whole later this afternoon, and then you will have some mainly rain for areas of the interior northeast, the mountainous areas of obviously Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, getting into Maine. Overnight hours, expect a rainy night tonight into your Friday morning, and then it's more so getting into Friday morning for areas like Maine. You take a look at the water vapor loop. You can see the spin out here from our upper trough. Spinning away. This is going to pivot. I don't know why it's doing that. This is going to pivot some dry air into these regions. So let's go on and stop this right here because it is glitching on me pretty bad here. But this is that dry air pivoting around here. So you see all this, the more wider colors right here, that is higher moisture content due to this cluster of storms that are going to be firing off here. Higher dew points, the more darker kind of mute colors you see, that is the more drier air that's going to be moving in, that's going to create a pretty below average weekend as far as temperatures across the eastern U.S., especially the southeast. But as far as temperatures today, it's going to rise into the 70s, close to 80 in eastern North Carolina, southeast Virginia, as ahead of this cold front, temperatures spike. So if you're in the south, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, more like a more typical early April day, highs in the 60s to around 70. Texas, Louisiana, same kind of deal, highs in the 60s and 70s. You are kind of under the influence of this upper trough, this cold front moving through. You're getting into the Ohio Valley, 40s and 50s for highs, and then rain-cooled 40s in the northeast. But you guys up here in the Midwest and the north central U.S., you guys are cool because snow is going to be falling, which I'm about to mention here. Check this out. With this spinning low pressure up here, you guys could see some snow. Watch out, Minneapolis. Snow is probably going to fall a little bit later this afternoon. Probably not a whole lot in the city limits, but just west of town into areas of western and southwest Minnesota, areas of eastern North Dakota, areas of northeastern Nebraska could see some April snow today. It happens. It's not too late in the year yet to not see it. But, cold air is pivoting on the backside of this low pressure. This is the warmer side. So all this moisture has a chance to go to snow. And in fact, it could spread all the way to Iowa, maybe even northern sections of Missouri as you're getting into the overnight hours. And in fact, there's going to be some snowfall accumulation. This is the National Weather Service saying, hey, a few inches are possible here in southwestern areas of Minnesota. A dusting's even possible, maybe around Minneapolis. Heavy snow on the northwestern banks. The southwestern shores of Superior, Lake Superior up here, and then basically the entire state of Minnesota could see at least a dusting of snow to maybe a few inches of snow. So very impressive to see this time of the year, not unheard of, but still always impressive to see. Very warm if you're in the immediate western U.S., especially southwestern U.S. The valleys are going to get close to 100 degrees today. Big time ridge building into this area. The valleys, even into the Pacific Northwest, are going to be pretty warm. Seattle's going to probably get to 70 degrees today. A little bit cooler to the east, over here in Wyoming, Colorado, places like this. But very warm if you're in the western U.S. But that's all I got, guys. I'm just getting going. It's been a very crazy week, obviously, with storm chasing. So my routine's kind of jacked up. It's kind of how it always is. When I'm storm chasing, my daily routine kind of gets messed up. So I'm not as fluent when I'm talking during my videos. So I'm trying to get caught up on my sleep. So hopefully I'll be back to normal for this evening's video. God bless everybody. Y'all stay safe out there. And I'll talk to y'all tonight.